Hey, welcome back to Trek on the Tube. Today is the day we talk about the Star Trek Lower Decks Season 2 finale. That's Episode 10, First Contact. Yes, there will be an Easter egg segment. Yes, this video is spoiler heavy. And yes, I loved the episode. Funny thing is, I have seen the episode multiple times at this point, and I do have notes, but oddly enough, I haven't really been able to find anything profound to say about it. Like, yeah, Mariner seems to be progressively growing as the show goes along, and this episode did do a good job at showcasing that, not only from her perspective, but also from her mother's, and yeah, there is a message in there somewhere about how a Starfleet crew is a Starfleet crew no matter how high up or low they are on the ladder of importance, so to speak, within the fleet. But there isn't that much more to explore in terms of strong messages, I guess. Rather, First Contact, for me at least, was all about emotions, feelings, excitement, and how a Star Trek adventure is the best kind of adventure. Alright. Admittedly, when I started writing this review, I didn't really know where to begin, considering so much happened in the episode, and I loved it all. So I wrote, but then I deleted it, and I wrote a little more, and then I deleted it again, and then it hit me. So much happened, and it worked so well, why not talk about the pacing? Because hot damn was it perfectly handled, for real. Lower Decks, like its most comparable predecessor, the animated series, only has about 23 minutes to deliver a full Star Trek experience. Be that a serious emotional drama, a high-octane adventure, a comedic set of circumstances, an innovative crazy sci-fi concept, or a mix of them all. And at its best, Lower Decks executes this wonderfully. But this episode, I think, managed to take it even a step further. The excitement, the thrill of the A-plot matched with the immersive and captivating visuals truly made time fly by. No story beat, no element felt added in just to pad the runtime, but also nothing felt rushed. Every single plot element, from the very personal journey that Mariner was going through to the ship-wide mission / disaster everyone was caught up in, everything felt truly developed, layered, and thought out. And look, I got no clue, I don't know how the hell they did it, but every single element got just enough dedicated screen time to make it work perfectly. So yeah, the pacing was perfect, and connected to that, the directing was also impeccable. Every single shot was dynamic, or personal, or whatever it needed to be at that moment. The plot, as we touched on earlier, was very creative. I mean, for starters, the idea of taking two ships to First Contact missions, but having one sit in the background as to not intimidate the emerging culture makes a lot of sense, and it expands the First Contact lore that we already know. Then the destruction of the unstable planetoid, creating a sort of cosmic EMP, was also very creative and visually stunning. But all of this led up to the moment the Cerritos crew had to problem solve and eventually come up with an entirely new solution that has never been shown in Star Trek before: stripping the ship of its outer hull. Like, what an idea. I mean, seriously. I didn't think there was anything new Star Trek could do with a starship at this point, and yet here we are. I mean, admittedly, I do think it is something that's easier to achieve in an animated show than a live-action one, but still, I wasn't expecting it. Those two things are huge wins for me. Problem solving, in my opinion, is an integral part of what makes Star Trek Star Trek. It's part of the show's DNA, or the universe's DNA. So to have these guys, this whole crew, problem solve together, everyone pitch in, even the ideas that get rejected straight away, to have everyone pitch in works so well on so many levels, and then to find a solution for the show to go out of its way to purposefully find a solution that has never been done in the franchise before. I mean, come on. That's gold. The mission itself, once it became a rescue operation, was also so very Starfleet, and the fact they pulled it off by, again, all working together, the fact Captain Gomez let Freeman make First Contact herself at the end, no ego on that one, all of that was just so very aligned with the behavior we're used to seeing in the Next Generation and subsequent shows. I mean, all of that made me feel so at home, you know, watching one of those older episodes of Star Trek. Yet again, the show found the right balance balance between an intense, fast-paced, action-packed finale and that Star Trek-y feel that we can't really explain, but that we all know and love. Other things I wanted to talk about, and yes, I know I'm all over the place, include Rutherford and his malfunctioning implant. On one hand, the pop-ups didn't seem like a very logical thing to happen. Like, yeah, maybe one message would appear, but not multiple, and it surely wouldn't completely block his vision, like bloody spam pop-up style. He does have a second fully functional eye after all. Nevertheless, those minor details aside, that subplot was still rewarding, because not only did we get a very touching line of dialogue from Billups, something actually pretty deep, and following that a realization by Rutherford, not to mention a few charming moments between him and Tendi, but then of course we got that big reveal that perhaps some very naughty people are responsible for his implant in the first place, so payoff there. The other small thing I could perhaps drop a small comment about would be Boimler and his Captain Freeman Day banner. I mean, I gotta say, I do agree with what Matt said in our conversation over on the Starfleet Boy channel. There was no need for that banner in the story. It served the single purpose of being a reference to the original banner from The Next Generation. I mean, it didn't affect the pacing at all. It was very well integrated. It didn't affect the episode negatively in any way. It just wouldn't have hurt if it wasn't there at all. You know what I mean? It added nothing of consequence. The final things I want to talk about are, of course, Captain Gomez and Cetacean Ops. Both elements were so great to see on screen. Captain Gomez I wasn't really asking for, and I never really thought of her character outside of her brief appearances in The Next Generation, but seeing her here today as a captain truly solidifies not only the idea of continuity within the franchise, but also how everyone can become who they want to be with a little dedication and hard work. And yeah, bringing back the original actor to do the voice just makes it that much better. And then of course Cetacean Ops, much like the USS Titan from Season 1, is something that as fans feels so earned and deserved. I know it's ridiculous to say this, but Cetacean Ops has been a part of canon, in dialogue at the very least, for over 30 years at this point, and so to finally get it on screen as an integral part of the main plot was so wonderful. I mean, I shouldn't say fans deserve it exactly, it's probably not the right word, but I will say that it was a gift, a true gift for the fandom. So yeah, an amazing episode, an exciting episode, a great sci-fi concept, an innovative use of the vessel, character growth, and a shift in the dynamic between Mariner and Freeman, welcome and fun Easter eggs, impeccable world building, stunning visuals, great voice acting, cool aliens, enchanting music, and I mean, let's not forget, a cliffhanger worthy of the best Star Trek two-parters. First Contact worked beautifully as a single episode, just as well as a part 1, and also just as well as a season finale, so congrats to everyone. I'm over the moon, what a wonderful show. And on that positive note, it's now time to talk about the Easter eggs and references that I could find, starting with this ship. You may have recognized it from the movies, or at least the ship class, but turns out we were all a bit wrong. You see, this is an Excelsior class vessel, but this in Lower Decks is an Obina class. The creatives have confirmed that, and as you can see, there are subtle design differences. The nacelles, for example. Also, the ship class Obina was named after one of the people working on the show. The ship itself is called the USS Archimedes. Archimedes was a Greek mathematician, physicist, engineer, astronomer, and inventor. I mean, according to the internet. I do think the internet might be a little wrong on this one, because I'm pretty sure Archimedes is an owl.
What a perfect stuffed owl.
I beg your pardon?
He's alive, and he talks.
And certainly a great deal better than you do.
In all seriousness, though, there was another ship called the Archimedes in the Saru-centered Short Treks episode. At one point, Mariner says she doesn't want her new captain to be a weirdo with a riding crop. She's of course referencing this guy, who was captain of an Excelsior class in the Search for Spock. This is Cetacean Ops. As we mentioned earlier, this area has been pretty much understood as canon for decades now. Firstly, because it has always been in the Starfleet ship blueprints and manuals, but also mainly because Geordi actually asks on screen a guest Ferengi if he wants to see the dolphins one time. So I mean, it's always been confirmed in dialogue technically. It must be said though that these were not dolphins, these were beluga whales. The Cetacean Ops logo, by the way, is directly influenced by the Cetacean Institute logo in The Voyage Home. This is Captain Gomez, previously seen as Sonia Gomez in The Next Generation. Yes, course, as we said earlier, the actor did come back to voice her animated self, and the ensign falling over on the bridge and Gomez's response to that were a reference to that time when she was a lower decker herself and she bumped into Picard with a cup of hot chocolate. Note that the episode in which Gomez was heavily featured in The Next Generation was also a Pakled-centered episode, so funny coincidences. This banner is a reference to the Captain Picard Day banner from The Next Generation. Freeman talks about mood-altering plants, which could be a reference to that flower that sprayed Spock in the original series. At one point, we hear about the rubber ducky room, which is a reference to this little joke that The Next Generation did in its LCARS. In a more random Easter eggs segment, we get Jennifer's helmet with room for her antennae, just like Harry Mudd had on his Andorian helmet in Discovery. Of course, he wasn't Andorian, he just stole it from one. Ransom's chair produces a manual drive stick, just like Riker's in Insurrection. Ransom then gets hit in the face, or rather in the helmet, and his helmet breaks, much like Kirk in Into Darkness, and this whole rock dodging scene is reminiscent of this rock dodging scene from The Next Generation. These maglocks are the same as in First Contact, this docking tunnel is the same as in The Next Generation. Rutherford's implant serving as storage for his memories is similar to Arium and her memory storage. And finally, this explosion and shockwave are both nods to the destruction of Praxis from the Undiscovered Country, although admittedly when I first saw the episode I got Mad Nexus vibes. And there we go, that's all of it. Thank you guys so much for watching. As usual, like, comment, subscribe, share the video. Yes, do share the video, because last time you guys shared it all around and we got a whole bunch of new subscribers from that, so it works. It works. Thank you. A big thanks to the channel patrons. I will be doing a season review for season 2 sometime soon. Look out for that. And as usual, live long and prosper.